The Belize Guatemala territorial dispute has been at the forefront of several newscasts, particularly even more so since the signing of the amendments to the special agreement between both countries on Monday, May 25, 2015. Today, Minister of Foreign Affairs Wilfred Elrington was a guest on the morning show and discussed the matter at length. With the two countries agreeing to take the option of going to the ICJ to their citizenry via referendum, the minister was asked to explain what exactly Belize stands to lose should we decide to go to the International Court of Justice in The Hague, Netherlands.
We stand to get rid of this claim that has been hanging over our head for all these years before I was born, and we will not give it to our children because one way or the other we will get a decision. The most I think we could lose, the very most, maybe something to deal with the maritime areas outside of our, but nothing terrestrial, largely because the basic international law principle is that once a border, always a border. You can't go and interfere with borders. So I am 100% convinced that they're not going to touch the western border.
Or
but
the
because
south.
we have an obligation to prove our case once we go to court, if there needs to be any adjustment or alteration, it will involve some of the keys or the waters off the keys east of the country. I had said that some years ago, and then I was told that an expert had come from Australia who had said essentially the same thing. So we don't have to worry about our land and people who own the land and SAS. That is not in the cards as far as I'm concerned. I am very satisfied that that is not in the cards. The only thing I think can happen is in relation to the waters. But the big thing that we stand to lose is this heavy weight over our heads that keep back us from developing and from really getting into our own. And I would want to lose that. I don't know about you. I think it's time that we get rid of it.
Elrington was also asked to explain what enforcement strategies are in place once a decision is handed down by the ICJ.
The International Court of Justice doesn't have a police force that could lock you up. It's always diplomatic pressure being brought, so that if we get a clear ruling from the ICJ and the Guatemalans continue to come across, they will very likely be sanctioned by other countries to make sure that they don't do that. And you normally start off with diplomatic pressure. If you notice what has happened in Russia recently went into Ukraine, what Europeans and others do, they don't send military, you know. They cut them off economically. We stop trade with you. You stop allowing your citizens to come into our country. We stop giving you money and lending you money from our banks and the like to bring what is called that kind of diplomatic pressure. The same kind of pressure that was brought on South Africa during the days of apartheid, to let them stop doing the apartheid. They stop trade with them, they stop engaging with them, they don't come to sporting events, they don't go to cultural events, that kind of thing. That is a preferred method of resolving these disputes and ensuring that in fact the order is, the ruling is upheld. We have had rulings in the region where people are not necessarily happy, but in time they come around, they accept it. You know, immediately, human beings are human beings, but in time you come around and accept it. And that is particularly important for us in Belize because we are part of SICA. We go to meetings with Guatemala almost every single day. And so we have to live together, you see? And Guatemala cannot behave like a renegade. The other countries are not going to tolerate it. We have excellent relationship with all the SICA countries, with all of Central America. And they then are going to bring pressure to bear on Guatemala because everybody wants a world of peace, order, and security. So the sovereign nations of the world will bring pressure on one of their own peers to act in accordance with the law.
While it is expected that Guatemala will hold its referendum later this year, Belize has yet to set a date for its referendum.